My name is Anthony Tejeda. I've been coming into Story Church for a little bit over a year and a half. Um, I grew up in church. We went almost every Sunday, attended church camp, VBS regularly, but it wasn't until I was 18 that I really started coming into my faith separate from my family and coming into it on my own. I was involved. I was really hungry for the Lord, but at one point I really started battling with God, and my pride got the best of me, and I started trying to fit God into a box, and it ultimately ended with me walking away for a really long time. I was living life on my terms, exploring different ideas and philosophies. And that path went for a while. I would go to church occasionally, but I was still fighting with God, and my pride and my stubbornness wouldn't allow me to see God for who He truly was. And I had put a lot of my hurt from my family and just life in general on God, and I couldn't see Him for how great He truly was. And He had to bring me to my knees for my eyes to really be open. So in September of 22, it came to light that somebody very close to me in my extended family had touched the daughter of a friend of the family. And that news forced me to face the fact that he had done stuff to me when I was younger. I wasn't really talking to anybody at the time about it, and I started spiraling. Didn't really know what to do. I felt the urge to go back to God, but I was still angry and bitter and just confused. And I turned to online gambling. And that distracted me. I would get off of work, go home, and just start gambling on my phone. And that turned into me gambling our rent money for the month. And I was able to keep it secret for about 7 months. And then finally one day, when I wasn't home, a sheriff knocked on the door, and my brother answered the door, and they let him know that they were going to be back in a week to kick us out. And for some reason, when my brother confronted me with it, I still thought I could fix the situation, and spent the rest of the day scrambling, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And the next day, I had written letters to my family, and thought about how I was going to end it all. At one point, my brother got home, and as soon as I heard his voice, I just broke down crying, like sobbing. He came over, jumped on me, let me know he loved me, that we were going to figure it out, that it was just money, that it isn't the end of the world, that I wasn't going to go anywhere, that he had me. So he was pretty freaked out and given the situation, and he had called the police. And so they sent 2 officers over to do a mental health check, and they ended up taking me into a psych facility that night. I spent the night in that facility, and God really used that opportunity to speak to me and really drive home the point of this is where I could end up living a life apart from Him, living a life of my own choices, living a life of lies and deception and secrets. And honestly, that night was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. After that, I knew I couldn't live a life away from Christ, and I had to fully give myself over to Him and conform to His image, and not the other way around. So I went to church with my mom's best friend that following Sunday, and I still, as amazing as it was to be back in church with a genuine hunger for God, I still felt some type of longing and need for something deeper. And that's when Story Church had popped up on my Instagram feed. I had been following for a while, and I decided to come in, and I pretty much knew immediately that this was a place I needed to be. Through my short interactions with people, I really felt like there was a welcoming home feeling here, and I knew something was telling me that I needed to be here, and that's one of the best decisions I've ever made, was to continue to come back. Like I said, I felt instantly at home here. I threw myself into serving right away, and it gave me an opportunity to get close to a lot of people. I got plugged in with small groups and started getting to know a lot of the guys here, and they've been able to help me grow in my faith and reconnect me to God in a way that I hadn't felt in a really long time. To the point where I look at myself in the mirror now and I don't recognize the man I was 2 years ago. God really has showed me his grace and his mercy and his love over these last year and a half, to the point where I met my best friend, got married. She's pregnant, and we're actually going to have a baby in April. So God's been doing amazing things, and he's been using Story Church to bless my life in ways I never knew were possible.